Cute Accelerationist Theory, colligated by the Marketable Archive, with Smugbug, international consultant, political author, and CEO.
This Milady thing is pretty big in the crypto space, and it's pretty big in this little tech scene, and pretty important,
The postulates of linguistics. So to me, this is a chapter moving from the sort of the Deleuze and Guattari realm of philosophy into the realm of linguistics, and pretty much most of this chapter is them just tracing the etymology of cute. It's interesting, but I don't see why they kept it in.
This is the only valuable chapter in this whole fucking book, bro.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is my favorite chapter. This is the only one that I think... Interestingly, that the moment they stop LARPing as fucking rhizome cuck schizoanalysts, and they do some actual fucking linguistic research, and they add something to the discourse, this is by far the best chapter, because they trace... a schizoanalytic meaning into cute via the progression of its etymology, which I think is very cool. I actually haven't seen that before.
It is very accelerationist.
Yes, it is, but I appreciate it because it's historical accelerationism. It's literally like using, if you want to make the slippery slope arguments of accelerationism,
you should trace it through human culture.
Yeah, show me how low on the slope we are and how long the slope has been running to convince me that I'm going to continue moving down it at pace, and they do that very effectively here. There's a few. This is such a short chapter. Unfortunately, it's literally like 3 pages. But I think it's worth kind of if you don't mind, I might just paraphrase it just so people know what we're talking about.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, this chapter I thought was pretty useless outside of the note 23, and note 23 was basically saying, yeah, there was no such thing as cute before about 1700, where it then rose into or at least in like a sort of sociological linguistic conception of cuteness, there was nothing before 1700. But I think in other chapters, they're sort of like, oh, well, cuteness is sort of a biological-ish adaptation of form and function, or the diversity and unity of life. This chapter I don't buy.
I think that's a really good point. We can come back to that because I think I had a note on that as well. But okay, so the
crack it open for us.
I also like, I'll read a paragraph and then I'll kind of explain the rest of it, paraphrased. This is them trying to understand the etymology, the source of the literal term cute. Yes. Keen to pin it down, we end up on the track of the irresistibly poignant. Following the etymological thread that passes through accuse, which is Latin for needle or pin, we arrive at acute, which in Middle English becomes a qualifier for physical malaise, transferring the sharpness of an object of material culture onto the exquisite miseries of the organism, thus presaging cute's curious ability to bounce back and forth between objects and subjects, building self-propelling circuits of production and consumption, form and effect, that will later become the generators of an irrepressible cultural contagion. So I think that's super useful and interesting that cute started as essentially like penetrative pain, literally like the opposite of its final form, a kind of like sharp, nasty material introduction of the external into the internal. Mm-hmm. It's almost like, I really like this etymological tracing because they do this, they kind of schizoanalyze the step-by-step changes over time. And I think it's interesting. It almost feels to me
and like they don't just do it in English either. They do it in Chinese and German as well. Chinese.
Yes, yeah. Well, we can talk about. I can talk about the Chinese. You can talk about the German because I didn't catch the German part. But so they then talk about how it changed from acute to cute, which means the same, which is the same way that we would use the word sharp today, like, oh, that guy is sharp, or you're dressed sharply, right? It's like it's witty, it's shrewd, it's keen, it's
beauty,
clever,
grace,
right?
and the
Sharpness.
true is what they say.
Yes, yeah. So I think it's a very, very specific. Oh, so actually that comes into the next packaging of cute. So we go from like sharp as in like clever, witty, and then it moves on to a physical form, which is neat, tidy, small, or compact by virtue of containment. And that's where we get to the beauty, grace, and the true, right? Like something that is like neatly packaged, cute, like a nice present, right? It's like, oh, that was very sharply put together. So you can kind of see how the step by step like moves from piece to piece to piece. This is my most schizophrenic piece of this, but I almost feel like the word itself embodies a kind of like reactive sentience where the sharpness of the term kind of gets woobified itself and becomes softer over time because it's such a harsh concept, right? The idea of like a needle piercing your skin is almost like as harsh a concept as you can put together. And so I think over time it starts to kind of get reused in like a softer and softer context.
As a Christian, for myself, I think it's very interesting that they brought up the idea of going through a needle and sort of a puncture of flesh, which is very sort of Christ-like, right? Christ was saying that it's harder for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven than for a camel to pass through the eye of needle. This book is just a pure demonic piece of literature, and so you need to sort of manipulate yourself into the eye of the needle to dispose yourself of material possessions to enter into the true kingdom of heaven rather than the cute AI submissive kingdom. And then, the pins piercing through flesh is a very sort of powerful Western and even Eastern metaphor, right, with acupuncture even as well.
Yeah, that's a really I totally didn't grasp that, but you're right. Like the idea of going through the eye of the needle rather than being pierced by the needle. But that's a submissive thing, right? And literally in the Christian context, it's submission as well. It's meekness. It's like
no,
this
I think it's a very active. It's a very active procedure. To rid yourself of like wealth and
to an external.
Yeah, to rid yourself of the luxuries of like the flesh and the material world is a very active procedure. It's very easy to succumb to materialism.
Yeah, but you're just submitting to an alternative authority, right? It's getting rid of the capital God to submit to the God. Like that's not better. That's just that's just an alternative authority.
Yeah, and it's a better one.
If God was real,
it's a holy one.
If God was real, I'd spit in his face and try and stab him. I'm not joking.
I'm sure he would forgive you.
This is the truest thing I can express about myself, is that regardless of the ridiculously, the overwhelming, irrational stupidity, call it daddy issues, I would stab God, like, on sight. God is kill on sight for me. Okay, I know I can't kill him. I know I'll get instantly sent to hell. But fuck, I can't. It is part of my construction. I can't help it.
You're so edgy. You're so Nietzsche-pilled. You're gonna kill God. It's incredible.
I'm not trying to be edgy. I am saying this is a fundamental reality to me that is irrational and should change but can't.
Yeah, God, fundamental reality. Okay, got it. Anyways, so the German sort of development of the idea of Kindchenschema sort of brought the idea that there is a biological necessity for being cute, right? In the pond community, there's a lot of people who like cute bugs, and cute bugs are, absolutely phenomenal, right? And they say that Kindchenschema and the ethnology of the supernormal retrospectively inscribed cuteness into nature while anticipating the collision of evolutionary biology and capital development with the accelerating Darwinism of Mickey Mouse and the unliving proof. I don't know what the unliving proof is. I don't remember. But this, I think, is a pretty key part of the book where they integrate sort of the evolutionary pressures of biology together with the market to serve the greater cute purpose.
Yeah, and I think that ties in nicely with their mentioning of the Chinese Meng, and in the notes, more specifically, the Chinese form of to be cute is Mai Meng, which literally means to sell cuteness. Yeah,
it can actually be both. The word for buy and sell in Chinese is exactly the same. The difference is like phonetics, right? So like it's mai and mai.
Right. But that is so far, right? Like literally cuteness in both forms, they're basically admitting that cuteness and capital consumption are it's a commodity. It's intrinsically linked, which honestly just reaffirms my main critique that cuteness is a framework of desire that is basically just productive for capital because it generates demand in excess of what is feasible to actualize. Like, an example is even conceptually, right? Like, you want to play with a puppy and you just want to like fucking smush its little face and you know, but you can't actually crush it to death. So you're left with an infinite loop of desire that can't be resolved.
Yes.
And this is positive when it comes to social relations, and probably why this instinct exists, right? But because you'll never resolve your relationship with someone, you'll have an infinite,
You'll never be entirely
continuous
cute.
purpose. Yes, you'll never fall. You know, like in theory, you'll never fall out of love with your partner because there's an infinite desire that can never quite be fully resolved. But it is demonic and evil when you get an infinite and unsatisfactory reward loop that pushes you to care for objects instead of people, right? You become a simp for a fucking inanimate object, or worse, a human being emulating an inanimate object by kawaiiing themselves into a disgusting caricature of a fictional creature. Like, this is why it's demonic, is because it is so object-oriented and completely disregards the human-on-human. There is no socializing in this fucking book, bro. They don't talk about two humans interacting.
But there is a hyper-social aspect to it, right? All of the commodities that you buy signify a disposition of yourself, a sort of preference for a certain type of cute that you can then spread and influence other people towards. On like, you know, we'll get to it later. The on the internet, or the schizo database, is what they call it.